I promise not to tell sad stories anymore. In January 2007, in St. Petersburg, Russia, my best friend Alexey and I went to a psychic who was well known for telling the truth and seeing the future. She predicted for me a divorce, a new marriage, and immigration, which time proved her right. And she was oddly silent when it came to my friend. He got really upset, and he said, I have no future. She saw something awful, and she didn't want to tell me. The only question she answered, it was if he's gonna have any children. And she said, you have son already. He was the godfather of my son, so in a way he did have one. And he was the kindest person I ever known, with big blue iconic eyes like Jesus on Orthodox icons. But he was, at his 32, he had never had real relationship, and he was easily discouraged. So in March, feeling hopeless and depressed, he shared he's gonna jump out of a window, and I got really upset, and I decided to find him a woman who would love and appreciate him. Little did I know, I will become a stepping stone to the tragedy that psychic might probably sing. We became friends with Natasha after our 3-year-old boys became friends. We met often at the daycare, and we talked a lot, and I really liked her kindness and warm personality. And about the same time, she shared with me about her unhappy marriage. She said, there is no love, we live like roommates, nothing else between us. She doesn't pay any attention to us. And I said, why don't you divorce? Why don't you leave him? I went through the same thing just about the same time. And I was glad I finally done it. And she said, I can get a nerve. I just can't imagine be all by myself. And maybe if I meet someone. And I thought, maybe I can help both of them. They have obviously similar personalities, and maybe they can help each other start a new chapter. And so a few days later, they met at the daycare building, me, kids, and them. And her son said to her at the same day, I wish he was my father. And things happened very fast between them. So few weeks later, she found out she was carrying his baby. And she said it's too soon. She decided to have medical abortion. And every part of me was against that. I said, wait, kids don't come on time. They come on purpose. I would take it as a sign to move forward faster. Leave your husband now. It's not the situation you want to put off. And she said, Alexey is not ready. I was like, he is a good person. I know him for years. And I said to Alexey, you complain of being lonely, and now you're just sitting there doing nothing when the universe gave you everything you asked for. But they were not known for being decisive. And I couldn't take action for them. So the only thing I said at the end, I think you're making a fatal mistake. And abortion pills didn't work. It's rare. But the damage to the future baby was already done. It was too late to save a pregnancy. Even she wanted to, but it was too late. She needed a follow-up procedure. So we met a lot following a few months, and just in December the same year, she got a nerve to leave her husband when he started intimidating her. It turns out he didn't want a divorce, but she left him in December. And she moved in with Alexey, and they spent New Year's together. And they were invited to her mother's birthday party, 50th anniversary, because her parents already knew him, and they liked him. They never liked her husband. And I called them the next day to ask, how was it? And no one responded. And I called again, and it never happened. And I called his home number, and his mom picked up, and she said, They both gone. Natasha's husband killed them. She said he was waiting for them outside with a hunting rifle, and they stepped out from this birthday party with kids. Her little sister was just a year older than her son. And he aimed at Alexey first, and she stepped forward to protect him, and she got a first shot. And kids have seen that, and they ran for help. And it sounded like a horror movie, and I couldn't believe what I heard. My son was 4 years old, and he was there, and he still remembers. We talked on Sunday. He said, "I remember you pacing the room and saying on the phone, I can't believe it. It's not true. What are you saying? I can't believe it." And I kept calling them like crazy, like listening to these dial tones and imagining they will pick up, and I will hear their voices and they will say hello. So they didn't share a life, but they share a grave. And when I'm in Russia, I visit the grave, and the picture when she's leaning her head on his shoulder and his eyes like on an icon, piercing me, and I say, and I think and I say, forgive me, guys, if only I knew. He was 33. On his birthday early, I sent him a message, "Good morning, 33 years old," with God's eyes, and he said, "For Jesus, it was the limit." And did the psychic see something? Did she know it was inevitable? And I think, like, maybe we sometimes set ourselves up for something good or bad unconsciously. But so the murderer died in 2021 in psychiatric prison clinic when he was held since then, and his son never visited him, and we're still in touch with the boy. And I want to say, we can't control evil in others, but only on the page of writing fiction. And my therapy was to rewrite their story. And I killed the murderer at the scene. And I made them parents of a little girl with big blue eyes. And in a way, now they're always with me and with each other.